Today is Stick Salute Day. Today we raise our sticks to all the hockey heroes who may go unnoticed. This is your chance to post a stick salute and let them know how much they mean to both you and your hockey family. And we are honored to have a very special guest in studio with us, the president and commissioner of the USHL, Hefferan. Thank you so much for joining us. Jersey City guy, that's where it all got started, right?
It did. It started for me there. Thanks for having me, Lauren. It's been a remarkable journey. I was a terrible hockey player and accidentally stumbled into the game, thank God to Kevin Russell, a kid I grew up with, and he said, "It's those figure skates." And I went, "Well, that's what was under the Christmas tree." So he says, "You got to get hockey skates," and I did. And that night he saw me. He says, "Look, you're skating better already." And he brought me to his house and gave me all his old equipment. And the next thing I know, I was off playing the game and stayed with it and started officiating and coaching. And so I always thank Kevin every year. I go, "You made my life." It's been a remarkable journey. Met my wife 34 years there, and so it's been incredible.
That's amazing. Go ahead, Rob.
That is awesome. And it's you're sitting here, you're a year in now with this new gig, the new job.
7 months.
7 months. Oh, not even.
Not that he's counting.
So what's your take so far on the job? As far as we know how important this USHL team or league, I should say, is to kind of the hockey ecosystem, like how big it is. And what have you taken from the 7 months?
Well, I've been a big supporter of the USHL for many, many years. I ran junior leagues here on the East Coast, and I began to realize how good that league was even 25 years ago. And we would bring all-star teams out there, kids like Mark Eaton and Rob Scuderi, great NHL players, and we would bring them out to showcase. And some of those kids would get picked up, and it would change their life. So I've been a big fan and supporter of the league for a long time, and the opportunity came around, and believe me, it wasn't anything I was looking for, and sometimes that's kind of the way blessings work, right? And I really do feel blessed to be running this league. It has been drinking from a fire hose. There's a lot to learn. A lot has changed, in just the last 10 years for the league. From a hockey standpoint, we have the best coaches and GMs and the best players in the world, and I can say that confidently. If you want to just look at raw numbers, just what we do every year, the USHL is #1 in draft picks by any other league compared. Its placement into Division I college hockey is legendary. I just got the counts today from Hockey East. There's 179 players that are USHL lineage, and here's a more staggering number. There's 1,800 Division I hockey players.
Wow.
Right?
That's
over 900 of them are tied to the USHL. Wow. So we're feeding 64 teams. Now, you're bringing up players
decent
like
alums here, huh?
Adam Fantilli, and there's just an incredible accomplishment of players.
I just want to tag this because I'm American-born player, 1980 birth year, and that was the year. The 1980 birth year players were the first one for the Ann Arbor team up in Michigan, and at that time I ended up going to the Ontario Hockey League. But at the time, in the USHL was a very good league, but there was still the conversation of, maybe it's, you're kind of splitting hairs at that point, and I was convinced that that was the better route, and it was fine for me. But now that's changed. The path now for even just the American-born players, it doesn't have to be American-born players, but just to go play that high level of junior hockey, then transition to college, or you have your options. You're leaving your options open, which I think is huge.
It is. I think I like the notion that we have a blended league. 10% of our players are from Europe. We have a fair number of Canadian players. And so we definitely want to develop American players. That's our relationship with USA Hockey. And I think the national team program and building out the Tier 1 value proposition, that's a $5 million expense for our owners every year to have to, and it is a lot of elements that go into paying for billets and all of the equipment and just how athletes are treated and how they're trained and off-ice training. There's so much that goes into it, and as I said, our owners are incredible. They always find ways to get to the yes answer and doing the right thing for their athletes, and that's what's so important. And we're fortunate. Ryan Suter is an owner in the league and plays for Dallas, and we've just got an incredible collection of really good owners that care about their players. That is #1. So from a hockey standpoint, we can't be in a better position the things that we want to work on, our message and our branding, those are things that we're starting to really develop. And I have an amazing staff. Our executive vice president is probably the second, I guess, the #1 female in all of junior hockey, and she's legendary. She's going to be mad that I mentioned her, Steph Morgan. She is kind of the glue of our operation. Yeah, she really does an amazing job. So I couldn't be more. We have an amazing staff. Our staff is incredible. John Grant, former NHL official, just joined us as director of officials. So we're looking at all of the things that impact player development and player safety and so on.
That's really cool stuff. Listen, all of us live in the area here, and it's been about 14 years, 15 years for me living in this area. Played for all 3 teams. We just had the Stadium Series, which is impactful not only because of the NHL, but also at all the other levels of the game. There's a cascading effect to help kind of impact that in a positive way. You're from here. You're local.
Yep.
Where do you see right now today things in terms of hockey in this area, the Metro New York corridor, all the way down to Philly? What's your perspective there?
So I wear that hat as the affiliate president for USA Hockey in this region, and it is a 45,000 players, coaches, and officials that play in this district.
Wow.
The development couldn't be better. I remember Jimmy Dowd, who's a dear friend. Jimmy.
Brick, New Jersey.
Brick, New Jersey. Yeah, and Jimmy, when he gets picked by Lake State and then drafted, Max McNabb had him drafted by the Devils, and just like everybody started to see it was possible. And I know others looking to say, how do we grow Division I hockey here? And now when that conversation started, I think there were 12 players playing Division I hockey from our district. That was a long time ago. And now I think from the state of New Jersey alone, there's over 60.
That's what I like to hear.
And it is that part of it, but there's other elements too, growing girls hockey, growing sled hockey, for disabled sports, hearing impaired, we have blind hockey. So there's a lot of other elements that go into it. So from that standpoint, we're, most of our rinks are for profit, but the rink owners know, like, it is about building the sport, and I think that has been a great asset for us.
Yeah, when you grow it at the grassroots level, right? That's how you create the new generation of NHL fans, and that's ultimately what we're looking for. I was just in Plymouth, Michigan for, I think, the 3rd or 4th straight year for the development game. I want to call it the All-American game, but now it encompasses players from all over Europe and Canada. How have you seen USA Hockey really evolve over the course of your lifetime? Because now I was trying to explain this to a handful of people. It's like, no, there's junior hockey in the U.S. and there are Canadians playing in it.
Yes.
Yeah, there is, and it's more than just Canadians. It's some of the best, European players that come here that want to seek that college pathway and also have that NHL option. USA Hockey has evolved so much. When I started, it was called A-House, and I think Bob Johnson, the great Bob Johnson, said, that sounds like a carpenter union. Let's change this to USA Hockey.
Yeah.
And but if you think about the advancement of the American development model, that caused some controversy. But if you really look at it closely, it has really evolved into an unbelievable player development model to follow. So I think that has made a huge impact. Certainly, growth of rinks has made a huge impact. And then obviously some marquee events. Let's talk about the 1980 Olympic team, one of my favorite. The 96 World Cup. Headed up by Mike Richter and net, right? Another Atlantic District kid. So, and then that led into, in Nagano, 98, the women's, Walter Bush, thank God for Walter Bush, who led the charge to make women's hockey an Olympic sport. We win the gold there. 2002, the first sled, and we win a gold there. So, I mean, it's just been, so those things and the evolution has just been incredible. And it's a delicate balance because you go to Minnesota and it's all very, it's very nonprofit, municipal rinks. And it's you play locally. There isn't a lot of AAA. It's a very different, and there's a reason why 20% of our players in the USHL are from Minnesota.
That's true.
So, yeah.
It's the state
That's
of hockey,
awesome
right?
stuff. Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
Wow.
That's really interesting. And quick little shout out to not just players, but coaches that come out of the USHL over the years. Can you name a few?
Yeah, so I mean, right off the top, you had John Cooper, Jeff Blashill, who coaches with Coop, who's at Green Bay. I remember the first time I met him in Green Bay. What a remarkable, and boy, does he get in your head. He wants to know everything about you. He's just a brilliant, brilliant guy. I mentioned Blashill, Lalonde, I think.
Yeah, Derek Lalonde, yeah.
Wow.
Lalonde.
Yeah.
I know I had a couple others on my cheat sheet. Jim Montgomery, Dave Hackstall up in Seattle. So, there's a bunch, and then we've had a bunch that have broken to the college ranks. Mike Hastings is, one that definitely comes to mind, who's an unbelievable. And I knew Mike. I was an assistant team leader the first time we played at Viking Cup, and that was an unbelievable event up in Camrose, Alberta.
Yeah.
And it was just a great event, and he was one of the coaches of that team, and I learned a lot from him. And I've been really fortunate to some of the other people, Gino Gasparini, a former Commissioner of the League, Skip Prince, all mentors of mine. So I get to stay in touch with them, and it's been pretty cool with that. So just a great, they're all around. And don't forget officials. Ryan Daisy, NHL linesman, he came through this program and worked in the USHL, as did many others.
We don't like referees. We love them all. We love them all.
Pat DePuzzo, shout out to
Pat's like an uncle to my family.
Shout out to Pat DePuzzo.
Pat DePuzzo.
We might be watching right now, Biggie Sports Bar on Route 17.
We love you. We love your stripes. We're his mess.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, absolutely.
All the shouts out. And shouts out to you, Glenn,
Thank
for
you.
joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Get us your contact information. We get off there. Come on.
It was great sport. Yeah, they're going to become friends. They'll be texting.
Direct too.
BFFs, talking with
Tell 'em,
across
Rupert.
America.
No
That's
indirect
Glenn
stuff.
Hefferan,
Thanks so much for having me.
and Commissioner
my
of the
assistant.
USHL. I'm just going to keep talking. They're going to keep talking. Coming up next, guys, 5 games on this Wednesday slate. It's going to be a good